Okay, Pádraig O'Cady, there seems to be growing political opposition to this, just even, talking to the Minister there. What do you think?
Yeah, I understand there is, and I would say that it's a lot of it's because there's an election coming up in about 12 to 15 months' time. But if you look at it, step back, I think there are three key issues here. One is the sales value of Aer Lingus, and the board of Aer Lingus will be looking at that from their perspective. In my view, 1.3 billion is too low. I believe the company is worth more than that, in the region of about 1.6 plus. For example, it was launched on the stock exchange in early October 2006 at €2.20 per share. Today, they're being offered €2.55 per share. It's only an increase of 35 cents, which is about 12% over about 8.5 years. I believe Aer Lingus is worth a lot more than that. And also the value of the slots of Heathrow are very, 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 very valuable. That's one area. The second area then, I believe, is that the whole benefit to Ireland as an Irish economy. You've got Aer Lingus carrying about 10 million passengers a year, 7.5 million foreign tourists coming in a year. That's critically important to the Irish economy. And the government are right, and the various parties are right to argue that. A big area I would be concerned about would be what the Chamber of Commerce in Cork said there earlier, is what happens to Cork Heathrow, for example, because that's a secondary route. And also Shannon Heathrow is also a secondary route. So would that go elsewhere? And I believe that the government can look at creating some form of a golden share here, whereby they can ensure that those slots to Heathrow are absolutely maintained.
But Pádraig, why are you in favour then? Because isn't there a danger that the interests of a big company like IAG, frankly, they're not the same as Ireland Inc., are they?
No, the reason I'm in favour on this is a couple of reasons. One is, and it was in the VTO shown there earlier, is that Aer Lingus is quite a small airline in a global market, and consolidation is happening all over the place. For example, IAG got involved there with Iberia, got involved with Alitalia, Air France and Lufthansa have joined forces, and the industry is going very, very much in that direction. And it's going to be a big, big challenge for Aer Lingus going forward in the next 3, 4, 5 years to be able to maintain its market share, as you've got more and more American airlines coming in and out of Europe, in and out of Ireland. Yeah.
Okay, let me just bring Timmy to it. On that point, it's a small airline, Pádraig's point, it's better off to be part of a bigger company.
No, I absolutely disagree with that. It's a small airline. It's a very strong player in the particular business market that it's in. It has fought off the competition that was posed by other airlines. Since its privatisation, it has seen a growth from 7 to 11 million passengers. And even over the last 4 years, it has returned a cumulative profit of about 187 million at a time when the country has gone through such a massive economic downturn.
But Timmy, virtually every aviation expert we've spoken to and we read about says it can't survive alone into the future. It's simply too small.
No, I disagree with that, and I think there are another group of analysts who would say very clearly, because of the business model that it has and the key markets that it serves, that no competition has been able to take it out. And whilst, yes, I mean, it has a deal done with, I think it's Etihad, whereby it gets the benefit of the group purchasing of aircraft with Airbus there. So, like, they have been able to put in place appropriate alliances to ensure that it's in a position to benefit from the sales.
But Timmy Dooley, are you fundamentally, though, just worried about your seat?
Oh no, not at all. I can assure you, Miriam, from my point of view, it's what's in the best interest of the country. And like, there are so many jobs.
But you must be worried about your seat.
No, I'm not. I'm in opposition. So I mean, that would be something that somebody in government might be concerned about. But
well, you sold Aer Lingus in the first place.
And the company has done exceptionally well since it was sold. You know, it had limped along from crisis to crisis. It was on the brink of collapse on a number of occasions. The privatisation set it on a strong footing that makes it interesting to people to purchase today.
Pádraig O'Cady, the big things people worry about are the slots and the connectivity. I mean, if you have a big company like IAG, do they really care whether or not there's a flight from Cork or Shannon to London? Something that matters here. Or also, do they care if we've got lots of flights from Ireland to North America?
No, I don't think they care at all about Cork, London or Shannon, London. I think they do have an interest in Dublin, London, Dublin Heathrow, because it's one of the most travelled routes in the world, quite frankly. I think it's the second most travelled in Europe. So it's a very, very important route. Also, the connectivity from an Irish perspective out of Heathrow is really important. I think in the region of something like 45–50% of all American tourists coming into Ireland come through Heathrow. So that's really important from an Irish perspective. But yeah, I would be worried in relation to Cork Heathrow, and I'd be worried in relation to Shannon Heathrow. But I believe that this government can actually put what we call as a golden chair in place to ensure that those routes are maintained, and also that Aer Lingus keeps its name and keeps the Shamrock. On another factor, though, I don't actually believe there would be an issue in relation to employment or a loss of jobs. I think it provides far greater opportunity for pilots and cabin crew and so on in Aer Lingus to actually go and expand their horizons and working with British Airways and Iberia and so on.
Timmy Dooley could create more jobs.
There's always a potential for some upside, but the risk associated with the downside is far greater. When you consider the number of jobs in the Shannon and Cork region, and indeed parts of the wider Dublin area, that depend on key connectivity to that network of global cities around the world. So many of the large companies that have invested their money in this country, they do so on the basis that there's direct connectivity from 3 of our main cities to the global network.
But Aer Lingus themselves at one stage hired out one of their slots to another airline, and then they switched Shannon to Belfast, London. There was a big row about that. It was reversed, but they still did it.
Yeah, they did it. And at the time, you'll remember that the government changed the Articles of Association of the company so that decisions like that could not be made at management level anymore, that they had to go to the board. And because the state has a 25% interest in the company, it appoints board directors who take into account those regional interests and the notion of ensuring that there's balanced regional development in the state.
Okay, quick final question for you, Katie, because you went to the studio and it's snowing down there. Do you think it'll be sold or not?
I think it will be sold, but not in the next 18 months, not before the next general election, but I believe it will be sold after that.
OK, listen, Pádraig, Timmy, thanks both very much for coming in tonight.